All right, welcome everybody to Mixed Emotion Podcast.
Patent
I'm
pending, of
here.
course.
Hopefully, I'm here, Stedman Avery.
I'm
With
Eric Brzezinski.
and hopefully we'll have a good conversation about
Polyamory. That's what we're talking about today.
So I have mixed feelings about this, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, so polyamory, I guess just to start things off on the right foot so that people know what we're talking about. So polyamory is when you have multiple concurrent relationships with other people. Not to be confused with like polygamy, where you get married to multiple people. This is just literally poly meaning many and amory meaning love. You know, you love many people.
Very interesting.
Well, it's worked out for me so far. I actually have a lot of positive experiences with it, but if anybody wants to hear more about it, there's actually a lot of good reading material on it too.
So it just makes it okay to have an open relationship.
Well, like it's so that's part of it. I do think it's a little bit more complicated than that because we've already for a long time we've had like swinger communities, we've had like open relationships, we've had like hall pass type stuff. But like this is something more than that because it's not just about like the physical stuff. It's also about like the whole concurrent relationship structure stuff too. It's about communicating and doing stuff with other people, but also everybody knows what's going on.
So you're emotionally open with more than one person.
Yeah.
That sounds extremely stressful.
I mean, sometimes it's definitely not for everyone. I think if I had to preface polyamory at all, it would be that you really need to know what you're getting into because it's like you need to be able to have this kind of open communication with a lot of people. You are going to face a lot of stuff that's going to make you very uncomfortable. Like it basically, like anything, I say like take everything you know about monogamous relationships, throw it in the trash because your poly relationship can literally be whatever you want, man. Like, and that's kind of scary.
Yeah. So what happens if you want to like take one relationship further? Like you want to marry one of them?
Yeah. See, that's where it gets hard, man. You talk about like marriage. You talk about kids. This is the kind of
especially if you get one of them pregnant. Oh my
right.
god.
Yeah. So like this is one of those things where polyamory is not super prescriptive about stuff. Like in that, like it's like heavily defined. Like this is how it goes. See, when a lot of people talk about polyamory and I do think like a couple specific books come to mind when I think about like ways that describe this very well. The Ethical Slut and More Than Two. I know, great book titles. They're actually written by the same person too. It's great.
So how would you feel if you got one of them pregnant?
Horrified.
How would you feel if you got them both pregnant at the same time?
That would be an unmitigated disaster. But that's more in relation to what I have going on than anything else. I think that kind of stuff is really scary, and it's not just tied to polyamory. I think a lot of people get scared to take the next step, even in monogamous relationships.
Yeah, I mean it's hard enough to just have one relationship,
But that's the positive too, right? Like you have more than one person to kind of share the emotional load with.
See, it's hard not to be emotional with one person. As a man, being emotional is not the easiest thing.
Well,
Like I feel like men only get emotional when they have daughters.
Well, I mean, I feel like we get emotional with more stuff than just our kids. But I 100% agree with you, Stead, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so for like mental health stuff because like men just in general, and this is practically like its own whole podcast right here talking about men's issues, but like one of the big men's issues is that we just don't feel comfortable talking about shit. We're told our whole lives not to.
I mean, yeah, but it's The real reason why is because people use your weakness against you. If you tell people what your weaknesses are, that's how you fall. Like they will use that until they get whatever they want out of you, and that's why men don't talk about it.
Yeah, but I mean, also on that same stage, like, you can just be like, well, I don't want to associate with people that are going to treat me like that. Because you don't have to force yourself to associate with people that are going to use
you
your
are right,
weaknesses like that.
but you don't really know all the time. Right? Sometimes, like you always hear the saying, it could be your best friend.
Mm.
You know, you never know who's really for you or against you all the time.
Yeah, but that's just the existential horror of being human, right? I mean, that's not totally confined to just like a guy's showing their emotions thing.
It's like money and emotions is similar. You want to protect your money at all time. You want to protect your emotions. It's like a action movie where the villain takes whatever makes you the most vulnerable. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely why people often talk about like their family, their relationships. Those are the people that get under your skin.
Okay, but back to these multiple girlfriends.
Right. So, in this circumstance you were talking about earlier, just kind of bring it back about like marriage or having kids. It's hard to like pinpoint on something in particular. Like, really, all poly relationships are going to be different because you have. There's not like a good established structure. Like, you look at like all the Hallmark movies, you look at like stuff that you see out in society, stuff that you see with like your parents, maybe your friends. Like, you have an idea of what a monogamous relationship looks like. You have an idea of the expectations. You have an idea of like the lines that you might be crossing. You have a line like of what you expect, how you expect it to progress. With poly, you're already throwing all that in the dustbin. Like, you're literally just wading out into the ocean, and you're like,
Yes.
I'm going to make something totally new.
Yes, it's completely new. But I mean, look, everybody has their own opinion on it. Everybody, if it works for you, it works for you. I couldn't do it. I mean,
That's fine,
just
man.
personally being open with one person is hard enough.
Yeah,
I
get that, man.
And then dealing with two women when they're going through their monthly thing.
Yeah,
that's a lot of stress right there. Dates.
yeah.
It's
it's
a lot.
So I think it's this would be a good segue for me to talk about some of like the other types of poly relationships that you typically see. So you guys, I don't know if anybody listening is familiar, but there's unicorn relationships where you have an established couple and you bring in like a third that kind of like both you're simultaneously dating as like a triad thing.
See, I could do that.
Well, all right. So, I mean, that's like a form of polyamory.
I mean, if it's like two girls and just me and we're just all dating each other,
yeah.
yes.
Some people have setups
that's
like
perfectly fine.
Some people are having a good time with that. It doesn't always work out, but like whatever people want to do.
Still be scared if I get them both pregnant, but it would be a dope experience.
I don't think anybody's denying you that. So, you got the whole triad thing. Sometimes people will have like a live-in partner for just one of the people, and like the other person's monogamous. Sometimes I actually know a few people that like have an established married relationship. They have kids and all that stuff, and they just kind of date people on the side. So they got like what's called a nesting partner. And then
it's called cheating.
Well, but it's so that's where it's different, right? Because like the whole basis of polyamory is this whole communication. It's ethical non-monogamy, in that it's like fucking around, but instead of doing that, you tell your partners
that you're fucking around.
That you're fucking around.
So you're still fucking around.
Well, but everybody's okay with it, and that's the important part, because like there's none of this shady stuff. You're able to have like a nice open relationship with these people, and you don't have to hide it.
Okay, I mean it's I don't know, man. I can see
Do
I can
do
see
you,
the positiveness in it.
do you need me to sell you on polyamory, Stedman?
I mean, you already sold me on one type of it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I guess that's true. I guess that's true.
That might be the
But
only one. I can't see myself doing it. I mean, for one, I'm selfish,
right.
so yeah, I mean, I can't share anything of mine. Like nobody driving my car. Like
Right.
I'm not sharing.
I get that. I I mean it's its own whole thing, man. Like I guess some of like the trepidation behind doing it is often like, well, you know, how do you let go? How do you like get to a position where you're comfortable having these relationships and having your partners have relationships with other people, like openly. You know, like I went through some of this stuff myself, and like I can say it's not super easy, man. Like, you know, I'll be the first person to admit that, but at least for someone in my situation, I feel like it's been very useful.
So, which one do you think is harder?
I'm sorry.
Having like a regular relationship with just one person, or having a relationship with two?
I don't know if I can go back, man.
Really?
Yeah, no, it'd be hard because like what one of the big things that I get out of polyamory personally is that I get a lot more exposure to people than I did before. You know, like I've always been like a long-term serial monogamous type, and it's been nice to have a chance to like date other people, see other experiences, like have this kind of bedrock of relationship in my life without necessarily having to feel guilty about trying other stuff.
Okay, I can see that. I don't know, man. You don't have to sell me on it, but I understand. I understand why you choose that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If I can have two, I would have two.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
Well, I know.
Like, you working full time. You work 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
Even if it's only 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then you have to get off work and tend to emotions and listen
I'm doing it at work too.
and at work. It's like, oh my God, that's
Well, so I think of it like, so it's really important how valuable these relationships are to you too. Like, I feel like I get there's a little bit of push and pull with it too, right? So like, you know,
right.
I get emotional support from these people too. It's not just a one-way street.
Right.
And you know, when you have these multiple people that are also involved with other people, that means that their needs don't have to be 100% met by you either. That means that there's other outlets.
That's another thing I can't get with, man.
No?
Like sharing with somebody, I just can't. Like, I don't know, man. Just another dude involved with the girl I'm messing with. I can't.
Well, let's
knowingly for sure.
Let's unpack
it's
that a bit. So, like, you know, I remember we talked about with like the 2 girls, 1 guy situation. Like,
that's different. That's different.
Well, right, but there's a reason why it's different, and the reason is because I feel like we are far less threatened by other women.
Well, because we'll also want to be a part of it. Like, it's another woman.
Yeah,
we're into women, and now we have 2 that's into each other also. Like, that's something. I'm pretty sure if a woman wanted 2 guys and they was into each other also, then they would like that. They would like that too. But
yeah, no, it's great. I mean, like, fucking. It. See, all these things can be amazing, and they have a lot of capacity to not be amazing.
A lot.
Like I actually can point at specific people in my life that have had interactions with poly people, and those poly people have not been very nice. You know, those poly people have not had like very healthy relationships with people.
I don't understand how it can't. like how far off can you go to make a poly relationship bad?
Well, I mean, you could literally just form like a commune and just like have a bunch of people living together and like fucking and stuff. Like if you want to go
That's
like
a cult.
full off the grid poly stuff, like
Fucking
literally
sex house.
you yeah, you could buy the sex house. It's like the frat house but for your poly. And then like, you know, you got like the farmer, you got like the guy that does like the medical stuff. Maybe you move to Costa Rica or some shit. I don't know. It'd be crazy.
That's definitely interesting.
But it doesn't it doesn't even have to go that far because like I said like you at the end of the day this is all about the people, right? Like I try, so when I'm doing this I try not to focus as much on like the relationship structure because the relationship structure is really like chaotic when you're in something of your own making, and I try and focus more on the people because like at the end of the day, those are the things that I want out of this relationship. Is I want to be attached to these people. I want those people to be happy. I want those people to live fulfilling lives.
A lot of emotions right there.
There's a lot of emotions.
That's a lot. It's a lot of caring right there. You want everybody to live. Listen, I bet that they're both very beautiful, great people. I don't know, but like if I find one, then I'm locked in. Like, cause if I'm gonna be texting at work about something that is bothering them, that I don't even understand what or why is bothering them.
Oh, but why wouldn't you know?
Because women are crazy. We're just gonna get that out there, okay? There's a lot of things that I do not understand, but I'm going to try my best to.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. You gotta, you know, your understanding's gonna grow the more women you have in your life.
You would never understand a woman, bro. I gave up on that when I turned 21. So I just try my best to find a solution to the problem. I can do that. That's all I can do. I mean, that's really all I can do. I mean, I could try to, you know, be there emotionally to support, and that's it. But for one woman.
Yeah. Well,
it's a lot to do for two.
And that's it, right? Like poly is not for everyone, man. Like, you know, you gotta be willing and capable of being open with these people.
You have to be very mentally strong.
And you have to be ready to be that person. Like the experiences I went through were not super easy, but like I'm glad I went through them. You know, it was a changing experience as far as like what I wanted out of life.
Yeah, you wanted two women. That's what you want out of life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
every guy wants two women,
well,
but it's different when you have. It's different when you have two girlfriends that know about each other than when you have a girlfriend and a side chick. Because the girlfriend you give, you know, your all to, you know, emotional, everything. The side chick you just give maybe 50, maybe 40%. You know, you're not giving everything to them. You don't have to be there and watch them cry and all that stuff. So,
so I think this is a great segue into how you deal with side relationships on your existing established relationships inside of poly. Because, like, you know, like we're talking about the whole like girlfriend side chick thing. Like that's its own whole beast within poly too. Because like I've had experiences inside this where like I've tried to communicate with people, or like wanted to do stuff with people that were not inside my poly group. And like all I did was I just communicated with the people, told them like what was going on, who I was talking to, like made some agreements, and then I went forward with it. Like that was never something that like had, you know, there's jealousy and stuff that comes up.
Well,
like,
yeah. So you said poly group. So do you have like a whole like place where you only go to talk to poly people?
Yes.
So
but
it's
but
like a poly farm.
well, so like, all right. So a few like terminology things like, so when you're talking about like the grouping of like your romantic relationships and then their romantic relationships besides you, you're talking about we call it the polycule. It's a really hilarious term because like it's trying, so like this can take many forms and stuff like that because like your partners have partners, those partners have partners, and you get to set the limits on like how far out that reaches. But like for instance, I'm in group chats on Facebook Messenger with like most of my poly partners, and
so if you have, let's say, you have your two girls, and you set the limit to them only having one other partner, right? Each.
Yeah, I suppose you could set that kind of limit.
I'm just saying, if you do, does it matter to you if they go beyond that?
Well, I mean, again, that's kind of like the amorphous relationship of poly. Is that like that's like, are you talking about specifically me, or are you talking about specifically like?
Or just in general, like, okay, well, I guess it would have to be you because I can't ask everybody.
So for me, I don't really personally care how many partners they have. I just care that we make time for each other. Because at the end of the day, like, we're still in a relationship, and we only have so much time in the day. So, like, if I had time, I would be going for a third person. But, like, I just don't have time for that.
I don't. Listen, bro. So initially, you have two best friends, right?
I mean, yeah. I feel like it's a different level of relationship.
You have two best friends that you're having sex with.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And you just call it a relationship. So if you guys are out in public, you can say like, "Oh, this is my girlfriend."
Well, I usually call him my partner to be more inclusive, but yeah.
My partner.
Yeah.
So is that like code word?
Well, it's not like a code word. It's just like so when you talk about this kind of gets into the whole like gender as a spectrum thing, which I have no idea like your specific feelings on, but like as far as gender goes, like it can go a lot of different ways. And so when you say partner, it's usually just more of like a gender neutral term.
Okay.
Like I could have like a male partner, I could have a trans partner, I could have a woman partner.
But
I could have anything in between.
So, but you have two women partners, right?
Yes.
So when you're going out, you just say partner just to.
I say partner because it's just part of the lingo. Like so
you have your own lingo too.
One thing about the poly community is it is super like, and this is something that should not actually be that surprising. It's super full of like LGBTQ plus type people. They flock to poly, and part of the reason is because there's so much communication inherent to keeping a poly relationship together. Right. That already has to happen if you're like a trans woman or a trans man or something like that. Or non-binary for that example, or like maybe you're asexual. Like these are all conversations that you need to have, and so within the framework of something that already requires all this communication, it's pretty prominent.
So when you're having this conversation, does your partner care if you call them your girlfriend?
No. I've never had it come up where it's actually been like a point of contention.
So if you're out and somebody asks, what are you guys? You're just gonna say we're partners.
Yeah, I've gotten like a weird reaction from saying partner before, but I feel like partner and girlfriend are fairly interchangeable, at least in my circumstance. I have just called girlfriend for simplicity's sake before, but in general, I just say partner.
Yeah, I mean, definitely if I ask you, oh, yeah, so who's this, Eric? And you're like, oh, this is my partner. I'm going to ask you a multiple question after that.
Right.
I'm not just going to accept that. I'm like, okay, I have more questions.
Well, I'm glad you're very curious about my life, Stead. I appreciate that.
I mean, you just can't, like, it opens the book. You said this is my partner.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'm open to communication on this kind of stuff. It's not like a secret. So this is this is something that's really crazy. So I've actually gone to poly groups that like meet up. This was the most ridiculous thing to me because like I'm a millennial, and I feel like we live under much different conditions than the older generations do.
Definitely.
And one of those conditions is just general acceptance of certain like sexual stuff, of certain relationship stuff. So I go to these poly meetups. It's full of like old boomer types, which kind of threw me off. I was like, wow, what the hell is this? But it's literally like all these people in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, talking about how like they have never felt comfortable. Like literally we're at a table where they tell you like you can't tell anyone who was at that table that this was like a polycule thing. Like you're not allowed to mention anywhere like inside the bar that we met up in like that this was a poly meetup. Like these people are afraid of being outed because it's like some kind of like social or professional suicide that just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for people in our generation, I feel like.
So people are really scared to be outed.
Yeah, well, because like it's like anything that like people consider like the other, like the something that's like different from the norm. We have this like really like Protestant in the United States like version of like this is how things need to be, this is how things are, and if you're not conforming to those like gender roles and other stuff, like you're an other.
I think that is not how it is anymore.
Well,
I mean, for the most part, it's not.
Yeah, well, I think we've made a lot of progress, but like these boomers all still exist, and they all still feel the exact same way.
Yeah, there's lots of Karens out there, but
I will note that Karen is not an age-based term. You can be a young Karen. I just want to.
Yeah, I actually have a really good friend who is black named Karen, and I will clown her for days.
Savage.
She's cool as fuck. So.
Well, that's good. Really trying to bring the name up for everybody,
I'm not gonna talk about that. But listen, so in this group meeting,
yeah,
like how do you guys know how to like who is who in? Like, is there like a special spot that you guys go to?
So
wear like a certain clothing.
In this particular case, I'm not gonna like out anything like hyper specific, but we're at a bar. We wore like name tags, like we're at like an office party or something like that. Like we had like little bowls full of like prompt questions we could ask people. I actually learned a lot of stuff because I talked.
Is it like speed dating?
No, not like that. Actually, a lot of these poly meetups very specifically state like don't come here to pick up people because like that's apparently a problem, and I get it.
I mean, like, what's the point then?
Well, the point is for community's sake. So, like, I talk about these people being, like, feeling like they're going to be outed, feeling like they're going to be excluded.
Oh, so you're going to talk to somebody to feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Like,
somebody who's also going through the same thing as you.
Like this is like any kind of message board, any kind of meetup about, like, a niche thing that people don't feel comfortable talking about. Like, this is something to give
emotional
them a sense of
support.
Emotional support.
There we go again. 100%. It's so much emotions.
There's so many emotions.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's terrible. Listen.
I mean, I guess that's one way to think of it, right?
It's more emotions. But it's cool. I mean, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. That's all that matters, Yeah,
I appreciate that. I
actually feel like I should go to one of your meetings. So
yeah,
I really feel like I should go.
It was.
I want to see what this is about.
I only went to the one. I thought about going to others, but like it wasn't really my scene. But I learned a lot. Let me tell you.
Like you guys should get like a building.
Yeah.
That you guys can like you know how the never mind. I don't want to say their name. But get like a building you guys can like meet up at, like every Wednesday. Have like an open bar.
God, if only that'd be great. Someday,
bro, you can set it up.
Someday
you can
maybe
be like
Poly
the
will
king
rise
of
that kind
Poly,
of
bro.
prominence.
You can be the king of Poly, bro. Just
King
set it
of
up.
Poly. I think someday that would be really cool. I feel like it's rough right now because like God, let me tell you, the poly presence in like the community is so small. Like it's a small world out there, man. Because like most people are just looking for what they see, man. They're just looking for what they see on TV. They're looking for what's comfortable. A lot of people, like when they go into poly, it's like their first time doing it, and so like all the wounds are fresh, man. You know, they're going into this black void of like total unframed stuff, and if they don't know how to communicate and they don't know how to do it, it ends badly. Like it's hard. It's hard out there, but you know, I think it is really valuable, and like I said, there is like some cool reading materials you can look at out there that like the more than two I talked about, like the ethical slut, that talk about these things in really positive light.
Well, you know, never mind. Listen, I don't want to get too comfortable, you know, on here, but I mean, I've been hearing a lot about poly lately.
Yeah,
you know,
really?
Yes.
Like not just from me?
No, no, because I actually talk about it to get people opinions on it, and I mean, like the people who I talk about it feels similar to me, but they also know other people's in it, and they also, you know, have been hearing a lot about it. Like what I've been hearing is it's popular nowadays.
Yeah,
like it's most people choose. I mean, I can understand why people are choosing to, because shoot, nowadays you can't really. The whole thing about dating right now is trusting people that you're dating. You know,
yes, dude.
Because they make it very easy, or they promote cheating. They promote side pieces and whatever the case may be. They promote that stuff.
Well, I just hope they're doing it ethically with each other.
I can't speak on it, but but that's why people are going to it, because you know it's more of a open and trusting environment,
right?
But it's like I still can't do it.
No, I get it.
Look, I'd rather go find somebody at the church and like, look, I know you ain't gonna lie. Well, shit, no.
Well,
church people lie too.
So I think part of the reason why this stuff is happening, like why, like if this is happening, like more people are turning to poly, is we have this this kind of breakdown of like, I don't know how to best describe it, like traditional family type stuff, like you know, marriage. I feel like is becoming less of a thing because it's really
definitely
like,
is.
It's you know, we're in such a different situation than our parents' generation was, and when we look at like stuff like divorce rates, when we look at stuff like how expensive it is to raise kids and stuff like that, like we're running into this problem where people just don't want to engage on that level. We're becoming increasingly atomized through online stuff. You know, people are doing online dating, and like all this stuff really requires that like you put yourself on the table before you even meet. And
yeah, I mean, but you also have to do that when you're in poly too. I mean,
oh well, exactly.
I like dating is dating, because you also have to see if you want this relationship to last or go beyond sex.
Yeah,
I mean, like, okay, so when you get into poly.
Yeah.
Is it like you're getting into it for sex, but then you end up finding a connection? Because like you're really like you're legit having sex with two people. Like I can't see it not being, sex based.
So if I have to talk personally,
I can see you building a relationship with somebody who you're having sex with.
So personally, I view sex as like one of the highest forms of intimacy, which is what I'm really craving. A lot of times from A to B, like I'm a very like emotional, physical comfort kind of person.
You are very emotional.
I love hugs and stuff. I'm into physical touch. I got that love language going on. So like for me, poly, like what I get out of poly is not only am I getting to meet all these different people with different experiences, which I find really like interesting.
Right.
Not only am I getting to like have my own emotional needs validated and stuff by these people, but just like I just got a lot of love to give. Like, not everybody's like that. Not everybody has this same kind of experience.
I have a lot of love to give also, but I'm not going to just, like, give my dick around like that. Like, I can give love and not my dick, you know?
Yeah.
Even though they would love... No, mind. Listen, so... I'm still... what I'm hearing is, sex is still number one.
Well,
I mean, because in order for you to have sex, all that, well, not with everybody, but with most people, right. The hugging, the kissing, the emotional stuff, have to be involved. Like the foreplay.
I mean, it's if you want to think of it that way, that's definitely like relationship foreplay.
I mean, if you're just going to somebody and you're just fucking and that's it. Then that's
not really even like a poly relationship.
That really like leave $20 on the nightstand and leave. Like that's that's
wait, why you gotta leave $20 on the nightstand?
That's what it is. Like thanks for your service. Like that's really what it is.
Are these people veterans? Are you thanking them for their service? Like
that's pretty much.
I salute you tonight.
Unless it was bad. But. It's more so if you're going into this wanting sex and then you build a relationship. Yeah, that's what I'm getting out of it.
Well, so I do think that's a very important part of it for people.
It's sex.
100%. Like we're very sexual creatures.
Very.
And like for example, one of my other friends that like has experience with poly. Like in that he's had poly friends before, like his observation of poly is like he's seen like some really unhealthy stuff, like people going around convincing other people to get into poly, fucking them over in a lot of different ways. And like and so there's a lot of capacity for this to be bad too, right?
I mean, yeah. Well, like you're getting emotionally attached to somebody. Mm-hmm. And then that person is getting emotionally attached to somebody else. Yeah. It's a lot of space to have mixed emotions. Oh, yeah, # mixed emotions.
Dude, that 100% man. That's where the communication comes in. Because, like, we're talking about these people, like, if you're going to have, like, long-staying relationships with them, you need to feel like you can communicate with them. Because if you can't communicate with these people openly without fear of like this turning into like a huge thing, then it's not going to work. And that's just kind of like a problem. And I feel like it's been amplified for me like more seeing other styles and stuff through poly. But like communication is 100%. Like you need that, especially when you're fucking around with multiple people.
Listen, bro. I don't know, man. It just keep coming around or coming back around to emotions.
Yes.
It's
How
too
do you
much.
feel, Stedman?
It's too much emotions. It's like, let me just work and go home and just be there when I'm needed. Yeah. If you like, you have no alone time.
I will speak from experience. I have plenty of alone time.
Okay. Well, then if I had that much alone time, I would feel some kind of way. Just like, all right, I have 2 girlfriends. Mm-hmm. Why do I have alone time?
Well, so that I feel like we're touching on like a big part of it, right?
So if you have that much alone time, can you get another girlfriend? Would you consider having 3 to fill that gap?
So all right, I think this is pretty important. So like when you talk about having relationships with people, like you guys are setting out, right, like how much time you want to spend together. Like oftentimes, especially in a one-on-one relationship,
Also,
like you
it's
guys,
scheduled.
that's a big part of it, right? So
Okay.
So these people, right? Like if you're on a one-on-one relationship, you might be seeing these people like 3 to 5 times a week. Like
Right.
this is like involved. This is a major part of your life. When you're in a poly relationship, it doesn't have to be that way, because these people have other people too, and they want to see them, a certain amount of times a week. They want to be able to do stuff with these people. So on top of that, like you are also doing stuff with other people. So it might be like, hey, I do like one day of this here, a couple days of this here, day of this here. If I felt like I had in my schedule, if I felt like I really could like properly accommodate somebody and have a fulfilling relationship with them, I'd do it. But I don't think I got the time for that.
So, have you ever met one of your partner's partner?
Yes. And let me tell you, man. So for anybody that's
you guys sit down and have a beer?
Yes. So let me talk. For anybody thinking about getting into poly,
one more question.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you guys like discuss each other's partner?
Could you be more descriptive?
Well, I mean, I don't want to out you or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, like any special moves you guys talked about?
Oh no, nothing like that.
Okay.
So all right. Let's talk about boundaries. so boundaries are very important inside poly. So in addition to communication, you got to make sure that you know like what you don't want to talk about, the lines you don't want to cross. A big part of that is like
with your partner's partner?
Like establishing, like for instance, all right, so think about this situation. So let's say you had a problem with your partner and your partner has a partner. And then you go talk to your partner's partner and complain about your shared partner. That is not cool. That's not good poly etiquette.
That's like getting caught cheating.
Yeah, a little bit. So like you're getting double teamed, but in like a non-pleasurable way, in like a bad emotional way. Like both people are coming down and they're smacking down. They're like, ha ha, laugh at this person. It's not good. It's not good.
It doesn't sound like it.
So like it's important to set boundaries as far as like how much you interact with these people and stuff, but it's hard. Let me tell you guys, it's fucking hard, because you're gonna have to on a certain level, you gotta let go, man. You're gonna see this person with somebody else, and you don't have to. You can set boundaries so you don't see them, but like inevitably things are going to start coming to a point where if this person is serious about another person in your polycule, like you guys are going to have some level of interaction. Like you can't keep it totally separate forever. And so you got to learn to be okay with that on some level. And like however you parse that out is really unique to your own polycule situation, but like it's important and it's hard, and I'm just acknowledging it.
Wow. Very emotional speech. Listen,
I've been drinking. It's terrible.
I don't understand. If I had a partner, if I was in this poly, and I had a partner, and my partner was like, "Oh, don't you want to meet my partner?" I feel like it's gonna be a fight. Like I'm gonna be mad looking at him, like,
fight, right?
Huh?
Why's it gotta be a fight though?
I'm gonna be mad looking at him, like, "Oh, you're fucking my girl."
Yeah. You're fucking your girl too.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
it's kind of like an Eiffel Tower high five.
I don't care to share anything.
But that's like the core tenet, right? That's like the thing where you're like, it's not about this whole sharing paradigm. It's like you guys are both enjoying your time with the same person. It's not necessarily sharing. It's just that like this person exists.
Yeah, I mean, I can have a girlfriend that has male friends. I don't mind that.
Right. So like,
But if her male friends are fucking her, that's a difference.
Well, but that's what I'm talking about, right? Because you don't own this person. This person is not like yours to tell what to do.
Well, yeah, but it's like it still goes to sharing. I don't want to be emotionally involved with somebody who's also emotionally involved with somebody else.
Well, so I feel like that's where I've had to change my framing when you talk about poly stuff, because at some point, if your partners are going to be active with other people, you have to accept that they are not yours, that you are spending time with this person because you enjoy spending time with this person, but however they spend their time, like I like to think about like with emotional stuff, like let's say like your partner has a lot of like really like chaotic internal shit going on, maybe with their family or something like that. Like that's not necessarily your struggle. You can support them, but that's their shit. That's their shit to deal with. Right?
Yes.
You know, so like you think about that, and it's the same with other relationships too. Like that's their shit that they're dealing with, and so
it's your best friend.
Yeah. On some level, that's what it's supposed to be, right?
I don't know. I view you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Your best friend is supposed to be your lover also. But I don't know. That's what poly is. That's what poly is. I mean, hey, I can't get across the sharing thing. I can't.
Yeah. Well, again,
it's like I meet my girl's or my partner's partner. It's like you're showing me who you cheating on me with. That's how I view it. I don't know. I could just be stuck in my ways or be old school with it, but I can't share. I can't share.
That's why it's not for everybody, man.
It's not. But I wouldn't talk down about you guys, because I mean it takes a lot to do that. It does take a lot to do that.
I appreciate that stuff.
You know, especially honestly, a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions. Hey, do what you do.
You can't be scared, right? You're going in head first.
I mean, yeah, you're in. There's no getting out of that.
When I talk about like the void, when I talk about wading out into the ocean with this kind of relationship, because there's no structure that's been like predetermined, like you have to build this yourself. I'm not joking, man. This is like an existential horror. Like all those things you talk about with like kids or getting married, these are all individual problems that poly group has to figure out how they want to handle. And like I might have my own framings on how things work, but like another poly group might come to a much different conclusion, and like sometimes that just has to be okay. It's just whatever people
I wonder if if they have like this huge poly family. Like let's say I have two partners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one, it's going to be hard to. First, we got to get a DNA test to see who kid is whose. That's for one. And then
modern reality.
And then you have two. Actually, yeah, you're right. So you have two kids with two different women, and you guys still continue this whole poly thing. Now, how do you explain it to the kids? Do you like tell the truth to the kids? Or do you say, oh, they're brothers, but also like
so this
is their mom, this stepmom? Like
it's so weird, right? Because like when we approach everything from the dichotomy of like the standard relationship, none of this shit makes sense.
It doesn't at all. But
because this isn't a Hallmark movie, it's literally everything we create. So like
it's 2020.
Like man. you're gonna it's insert current year already. Come on, man.
Yes.
Like but like these are gonna be hard things for people. These are gonna be things because like poly is not a widely accepted sexuality as far as I'm concerned. Like I haven't run into anybody that's like directly like derided me for it, but you don't see like there's not going to be like a poly member of Congress, you know, like we have LGBT people in Congress now, and that's like a new thing. I seriously doubt we're going to have like non hyper religious, like, you know, cat identifying, you know, poly people in Congress anytime soon. It's gonna take time, man. Like it's just,
I mean,
we're not there
they're
yet.
probably in there already. They just haven't came out yet. You just don't
I
know
hope
who
so.
is who.
I hope so. Maybe
I mean, 2021, they probably all coming up.
maybe we got like Big Gretch or something, and she's really in a secret poly relationship we don't know
Listen,
about.
don't talk about Big Gret. Big Gret is the truth, okay? She is the truth. She can't do no harm.
Big Gretch. Hey, I wanted to wrap this up with one last question before we get out of here.
What's up?
So, what do you, if you had one more question to ask me about poly, what do you think it would be? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, you definitely did. But it would have to be more so on just how do you find a time to meditate after all the emotions. Like, you have to deal with that 24/7. How do you find a time to not to lose yourself in that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good question. I have to spend a lot of time on this kind of thing because like it's hard, right? Like you can get totally swallowed up by these relationships. That's that codependent relationship stuff, and it's actually something that I've been personally bucking super hard because I've come out of a lot of that in my 20s, and like it's hard, man. You need to. I feel like that's why it's important to have friends. Stuff that is not romantic relationships in your life, because you really need something to anchor you, something that makes you you. Because like on top of these romantic relationships you have, like it's important to have a wide breadth of relationships, whether or not it's like casual friends, whether or not it's like people that you go hang out with, whether or not it's people you fuck, like whatever. You need these people in your life because they're all expressions of you and ways that you can kind of work stuff out. I also highly advocate therapy. I think therapy is great for this kind of stuff too. But, you know, shout out to all the social workers out there. But like, it's super important, man. I 100% agree with you. You need to keep yourself centered inside this stuff because it's easy to lose yourself in a relationship.
Definitely is. Well, how much time we have left?
I think we're pretty much done here. Anytime you want to wrap this up.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to me and Eric in our first episode of hopefully Mixed Emotions.
Mixed Emotions. Thank you. Good night.